Hello and welcome to Cricket Tips. Today we have got the regular panelists in Nishit and Jay to discuss the game between Hyderabad and Rajasthan. Hyderabad finally get to break their losing streak in what was a nice run chase for them, given how the recent form of the franchise has been. I'll come to Jay first. We speak about Rajasthan's captain Sanju Samson gaining some consistency, which is an attribute that all his fans wanted him to acquire for a long time now. I mean, Sangakkara speaks on him taking more time for him at the start because he's that good a player to change gears seamlessly. And how, I mean, the knock of 82, how do you rate it?
Sanju Samson, he has been around in the IPL for such a long time, and he is one of the only few experienced players in the Rajasthan Royals lineup. If you look at it, other than Livingstone, I guess there are not a lot of names that you can take up who are experienced and whom I guess Sanju Samson can bank on for playing a long inning. Other people they can come in, they can be explosive, they can leave their mark, they might not. Sanju Samson initially he was known for scoring runs, coming out and hitting it big. And one fact about him is he was a part of the bench when KKR won the IPL trophy. So he has been in this game from that long, from the time he was identified as a 15-year-old kid who has his calm and who's able to play shots against the regular IPL bowlers. So from that point of time, he has come into cricket and he has been explosive initially, but now everybody wanted him to gain a bit of consistency because he is also the captain and that is expected of somebody after they have so many years of experience to bank on. And when we saw Sanju Samson bank bat today, sadly from the past 2 to 3 games, he's scoring good. He is the holder of the orange cap, but at the end of the day, his team is just not able to make it. But when we talk about his batting, specifically about the way he came out, so he was not playing any erratic or random shots. He took his time. He got on the he adjusted himself to the kind of pace that they needed. And then after that, once I guess the timeout was over, and then he came out and he switched gears, and then he was hitting like crazy. So that is the kind of player he is. He is waiting in for the right moment when he can switch gears, when the change of momentum is actually needed, and then he's banking on that.
Yeah, some cricketing wisdom going into Sanju Samson, which is something that would excite not only Rajasthan fans but Indian fans in general. For Nishit, I'm going to ask him about English opener's SRH debut, which is Jason Roy. I saw him for the first time in, I remember, the England versus New Zealand 2016 World Cup semi-final happened in Delhi. So I'd gone there with my family, I'd seen that, and that was in fact the first time I saw Jason Roy. I hadn't even heard his name, and he scored 5 boundaries then in a single over. And I mean, today's Jason Roy's debut, you look at it and just ask yourself that where was he for all this time?
Right. Hello all, welcome to Cricket Tips. Great victory for SRH. Obviously, the performance of Jason Roy uh, proved that SRH was missing an important cog in their team, and finally, Jason Roy seems to finish that void, so to speak. And Jason Roy also talked about this in his post-match presentation that despite the dismal performance for SRH in this season, it was really important for them to not slip into that negative mood and rather try to enjoy, spread some smiles and try to uh, make the most out of the situation they find themselves in. And he's a prolific English batsman. And there's this saying that goes on in the English team that if Bairstow doesn't do it, he will. So he has been a prolific batsman. He's ranked the 16th in the world at the moment, and even Kane Williams. No, but
Oh,
the 16th right now, as of now. He slipped a couple of places, then he once
I'm
again
asking in
reached
the
the 16th.
T20 format.
T20 format, right? Yeah. So there was a couple of changes, but the recent position is the 16th position. And Kane Williamson also talked about how Jason Roy is a batsman who can change the game irrespective of the team he is he is in. And earlier he was in Gujarat Lions, and he also had a season with Delhi Daredevils before that. But Jason Roy will, I guess, prove to be an important part of SRH. Jason Roy also talked about the importance of Riddhiman Saha, their partnership. Saha gave Jason Roy an opportunity to relax, maybe, and the way they both paced their innings was also something that was great to see. And obviously, Sanju Samson's 82, as Jay mentioned, was very important and a very unfortunate statistic for the team for Rajasthan, that all the three scores of Jason Roy, his highest three scores for IPL, have been a part of a losing cause for
The
this
high
season.
scores of Sanju Samson, you mean, right?
Yeah, Sanju Samson. So
Yeah.
this season in both the legs, so like he got 119 against Punjab, he got 82 against SRH, and he got 70 versus Delhi Capitals. So in this season, his top three highest scores have been a part of a losing side. So an unfortunate statistic, but a big positive, as you rightly mentioned, for the team and for the Indian fans in general as well. And another statistic before I wind up my point, that we talked about in the previous videos, we talked about different rivalries made with the El Clasico, RCB, Mumbai, or the KKR Mumbai, etc. But now this is also a new rivalry, because Hyderabad's two last chases in excess of 160 have been against Rajasthan. Earlier, they chased a target of 199 against the same team, and now yesterday, Mumbai faltered chasing against a similar total on a similar pitch. But they also got a good start, they did, like Hyderabad did, but Mumbai faltered in the end. But then the players of Hyderabad were able to, find their bearings. They also lost a couple of wickets, but then they were able to find their moorings, and they finished well. So a great positive for Hyderabad, an abysmal performance for this team for this season. But obviously, the loss also spices things up. The first two places for the IPL this time are sealed, dominated by CSK and DC. So congratulations, Goepan, once again on that. But it will be interesting to watch who secure the final positions in the playoffs this time.
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing that I take out from what you had to share or here is Jason Roy speaking about not letting the results weighing them down. I mean, it's cricket, it's sport, it happens. The result goes your way, does not go your way someday, but it's important how you show up every day. And that brings us to the discussion of the day, which is a statement made by Simon Dool, one of my favorite commentators. He says outside MI and CSK in the last 4 to 5 IPL seasons, SRH has been the most consistent team in terms of winning percentage, and they can be forgiven for one season where they have been average to poor. I mean, I'm gonna ask you, both of you, your views on this, but personally, I agree with this because not all times you can get your combinations right. Maybe some player after a point of time, example David Warner, can just get off the boil for a period of time. He might,
True.
I'm sure he has it in him to come back. I mean, I think personally it was harsh for Warner to be let out today and Jason Roy coming in. He did well, but I mean, how do you agree on this statement or
Uh,
disagree? What do you think, Jay?
at times, like David Warner, a player like David Warner, if he knows that he is not in form, so a leader should also know, when he is supposed to step back and when he is supposed to let another person, take his place. Like if you talk about Jason Roy taking David Warner's place a few matches back, so that would have made all the difference to this team, and it might have, put them at a different spot altogether in this season of IPL. So even the management was trying to give David Warner all of those chances because he has carried this team for a number of seasons, and the way he has been performing with this team, it was outstanding. So just for one season, I guess they gave him as many chances as required. But now it is again all of the weight falls back on David Warner on how how he's coming back with all of it. And definitely one season does not define the the team's performance or any kind of team, because this season should be a symbol for that, because everybody's hopeful of RCB winning the IPL trophy, even though they haven't performed that well in all the past years. So if you can see a team that has not been performing for almost more than a decade in good light, so seeing one team which is being average or maybe slightly poor in one season, so that would be really harsh on the part of the fans.
Yeah, very nice parallel put forward. I mean, it's about perspective at the end. SRH always has this reputation of being one with not the biggest of names, but always punching above their weight category. Nishchit, what do you think about it?
Yeah, so personally, I'm really glad that you kept this as a discussion of the day because in a previous discussion, I mentioned that I was and I still am a big SRH fan. I mean, the way they came out of nowhere, a new team, and won the IPL, and they reached the finals multiple times. So, where Bhuvneshwar Kumar was the purple cap holder, he dominated, and Ishant Sharma
Yeah.
was there with him, and then Warner, rightly mentioned by Jay, that carrying the team and scoring in the excess of 600 IPL runs consistently for various seasons is no mean task. And the way SRH have performed is very consistent. And obviously, this season's IPL was all about resilience. And because of the pandemic, it was hard. The rotation of the international players, the overseas players, because of the national duties or because of the pandemic, some had to stay out of the bio bubble and some were not able to participate, etc. So it was all about resilience and not so I guess in such testing times, tough times, obviously a performance of a team like SRH can be given an excuse, or they can be given a lenient chance. I mean, Mumbai also not able to perform quite well, a team with a lot of caliber, the defending champions, but still we are giving them a chance. So great parallel drawn by Jay that we always have this basic reaction that we give teams like RCB and Mumbai, the big teams, always the second doubt that maybe they'll bounce back. But then if we are able to do that, we should give teams like SRH another chance as well. I mean, they do not have huge players like RCB does on paper, but still with the players that they have, they've been trying to find that inkling. A player like Warner with a caliber like his, I mean, maybe the lack of international matches you've discussed why he may not be able to perform, but obviously we cannot write Warner and his team's chances off. So, rightly mentioned by Jai, one season cannot decide the team's performance throughout. A very consistent side, and let's hope that they are back next year with a bang and perform quite well.
Yeah, optimum utilization of their resources is what SRH have been doing pretty
True.
nicely over the last 3 4 years. One slump, and we hope all the best for them. Taking us forward for tomorrow's double header. No, it's not a weekend; it's a weekday. It's a Tuesday, and I don't remember seeing many weekday double headers. I mean, it's probably for the first time in many years, but as a fan, as a cricket viewer, I'm very happy. The first one is between DC versus KKR in Sharjah. Before I ask you to light your opinions on the match, I'm gonna go first, and I'll say Sharjah's surface is something that I'm looking forward to now. It's in the batsman's it's on the batsman's hands to quickly assess the conditions. What type of pitch is this? Is it a 180 pitch? They go for 180 and get shot out for 120. No, irrespective of which team it is, DC or KKR. And I'm gonna also talk about Enric Nokia and Lockie Ferguson, both pace batteries. I feel both of them have it in them to not only crank it up to 150 kilometers per hour, but also adapt to the slowest conditions. It is more than DC versus KKR. I'm gonna look at the individual player battles. And yeah, on that, Jay, what would you like to say?
No, I would like to see DC coming back into form, Shreyas Iyer, Shikhar Dhawan, and
And were they out of
especially
form?
yeah, they
So
weren't
DC,
out of form, but last game it wasn't that good. So
yeah,
I want to see them coming back into the game before that, like last to last game, the way they were coming out. And Prithvi Shaw, he hasn't been that much in form if you talk about it. The
yeah,
other players we have seen them play, but Shaw hasn't been coming out and opening up the way he used to. So that is one thing I would look forward to, and the kind of play that KKR bring the coming out and playing the open carefree kind of atmosphere that they create, that would definitely be fun to watch as compared to DC's approach.
yeah. It's a fresh air. And Nishchit, I'm gonna ask you about KKR versus DC, and also let us know what do you think about the second match, which is between Mumbai and Punjab.
Yeah, so obviously it's a weekday, but still the two double headers gain a lot of prominence because of the way things are heating up in the points table, especially the third and fourth positions. I mean, a lot of teams vying for the third and fourth spot and trying to get the chances for the playoffs. So obviously, when you talk about DC versus KKR head to head, KKR has a slight edge. They have won 14 matches while DC has won 12. but the last victory was in the favor of DC. They won by 7 wickets. And Ricky Ponting talked about how DC should peak at the right moment. I mean, DC has been peaking, but they need this victory to cement their place, and they might go into the playoffs with a better positive mindset if they win against KKR. And if the KKR openers want to perform, Venkatesh Iyer, and we talked a lot about the youngster, but then as you rightly mentioned, they will have to eliminate the KKR openers will have to eliminate the threat by Nokia and like his fiery pace. I mean, it will be a sight to behold. And the second match about Mumbai and Punjab Kings, I guess Punjab Kings has been performing quite well. It has its ups and downs, but obviously Mumbai will have a larger point to prove. Mumbai has slipped down to the seventh position, which seemed unlikely, and a lot of memes regarding Mukesh Ambani,
Mukesh
right
Ambani
there.
coming back into
Yeah,
play.
yeah. Yeah, so like maybe they're giving everyone a chance to feel that, see, it's not always the Mumbai at the top, and it's not always so easy and rosy for Mumbai. So there was this discussion that me and Jay had that the defending champions will have to be defending their position till the last match. So obviously they would want themselves to find some moorings. They have great players. Rohit Sharma obviously will have this pressure on him because. Earlier when the second leg of the IPL started, we felt that his captaincy will also be under the radar because he'll be the one has got the buck pass from Rohit Sharma. Now we will see how he rotates his players. I mean, the last time in the last match, Kunal Pandya coming ahead, he wasted a lot of balls, putting added pressure on Pollard. It didn't work out. Now let's see what he does. Bumrah has been consistent this time in every match, irrespective of the victory or loss. He has been picking up 3 wickets or so. So it's a big positive, but Hardik Pandya has failed to perform quite well. Kunal Pandya also not performing. Pollard also struggling. So, I mean, the team, like, they need to huddle up. And as you rightly mentioned, RCB, Virat Kohli's aggression helps. And Rohit Sharma's aggression is not that aggressive, obviously, but he has been accessible. But if he is not able to motivate the team, then obviously it won't be excused. And this loss and this mindset might rub on to him leading India in white ball cricket as well. So great matches, very important for the points table as well. And Tuesday, I guess, will prove to be a more important day rather than the weekend. So let's hope that even if the first match is in Sharjah, very low scoring games previously, let's hope that we find some exciting matches on the go tomorrow.
Yeah,
But I guess,
excellent.
MI, this is not the first time that they have found themselves in this kind of a, trap where they have to continuously keep winning all the games. And then I guess once they had gone up winning the championship, winning the trophy in the
From a
same kind of
similar
a trend.
position, yeah.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. So, doubting on the MI at this point of time. And another thing that I would like to add on is, Dwepan, you were telling me that you would like to see Bumrah get a bit of rest because he has to continue playing into the T20s. But in the kind of play position that MI is right now, I hardly doubt,
They can't
that they'll
afford it,
be
right?
keeping
They
Bumrah
can
out of.
afford to rest their best
Yeah,
weapon. Yeah.
exactly. So,
Yeah,
that
Right.
is no longer a luxury for them.
and
And
Uh,
it,
even talking about the Punjab King, Punjab Kings last game, the same thing happened. The captain performed really good, but at the end of the day, they couldn't make it. So there are a number of parallels in this season where, the captains are coming out, they're doing their part, and the teams are just dragging their feet. So this time,
mm.
it is again the same kind of a game where MI Rohit Sharma has been doing his part, and the team is dragging their feet in the middle order or in the lower order, if you like to, talk about it. And the same has been seen even in the Punjab Kings. So tomorrow we'll get to see more of which middle order or which team is stepping up and going ahead with their captain to get that
And
victory.
yeah, and MI can learn from today's match as well. I mean, SRH found themselves in a similar position. They lost a couple of wickets after a great start, but then at the end, they were able to consolidate the run chase. So
I guess the
Mumbai
key was
faltered
Kane
last night.
Williamson, sticking around till the end. So that
Till the
made
end.
that made a huge difference. Even in the
yeah,
previous
That's true.
game, I guess in MI, if Rohit Sharma would have sticked around till the end, that would have made all the difference in the world. So
yes, absolutely. That is a pivotal anchor that I understand you guys are trying to make the point of KL Rahul, Rohit Sharma, and even Kane Williamson as skippers of the side, just holding the side together in a tough chase. And yes, these are good points being made. It's a double header tomorrow. with Mumbai Indians is all I can say, that it's an Indian core that is underperforming for them. It's a batting core that helped them win so many titles. Surya Kumar Yadav, Ishan Kishan. We saw Ishan Kishan with his head on his hands, and it wasn't a good sight. But yeah, challenges are a lot of them ahead of Mumbai Indians for tomorrow's game. And yes, for everything, we'll be there covering everything, and we'll be here at the same time tomorrow. Please do like, share, subscribe, comment on the issues you want us to speak about, and we'll be back. Thank you guys. Take care. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.